What's up everyone on the internet? Thank you for making this video part. I'm so excited to upload this one for you guys because for this video, we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, and that would be The Jungle Book. Just so you know, we're going to be taking a look at both the original classic and the live action remake. And if I'm going to be honest with you guys, the live action version of this movie is pretty dang good. I don't mean to brag, but I really love this movie. I mean, if you've seen some of my earlier videos, you'll probably notice that I actually had a Jungle Book poster hanging right here on the wall. You know what? I'll bring it out right now. This is one of my favorite posters that I have right now. You can see I was able to frame both the IMAX ticket and the original tickets for when I first saw this movie back in 2016. Anyway, so the original Jungle Book was released back in 1968, and the story revolves around Mowgli, who's basically a young boy raised in the jungle by his adopted wolf family. But when word spreads out that Shere Khan the tiger has returned to their part of the jungle, Mowgli is forced to leave with his panther friend Bagheera, and the two embark on a journey to where they are going to get Mowgli to the man village where he will be safe. Along the way, they encounter some crazy animals, including the happy-go-lucky bear, Baloo. It's funny because as a kid, I really loved watching nature documentaries on Animal Planet, and I think it was because of that I really fell in love with this movie. Also, one of the things that I really love about this movie is that at the very core center of it, this movie is basically a small buddy road trip story to where we see Mowgli, Baloo, and Bagheera travel across the jungle and go on crazy adventures with one another. But at the same time, as you watch these three characters embark on this journey and create such tight bonds with one another, it makes it more painful to watch when you realize that at the end of it, both Baloo and Bagheera have to get Mowgli to the man village. I'm telling you, it's hard for me to watch the scene from when you see Baloo break the news to Mowgli and tells him that he has to go to the man village, and it's just so crazy seeing that these two characters create such a tight bond with one another, only for that trust to be broken for when Mowgli freaks out and just runs away from Baloo. And it's just that scene, it just really hits me really hard because watching those two characters create such a good friendship throughout the entire movie, and only to have it broken, it maybe makes this movie really good. But anyway, one of the other things that I really love about this movie is obviously the music. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean, those songs are pretty catchy. Now with that being said, let's talk about the 2016 live action remake, which a lot of people consider to be the best Disney remake. For me, I am loving the recent live action Disney remakes, and even though I enjoy those movies, a lot of people on the other hand don't share my enthusiasm. However, with that being said, we can all agree that the Jungle Book had the best live action adaptation. Maybe it's because people don't hold Jungle Book on such a high pedestal as opposed to The Lion King, Aladdin, and Beauty and the Beast. But anyway, the live action remake of The Jungle Book basically tells the exact same story as the original Disney classic, but with some slight improvements, particularly on how they portray the wolves and Shere Khan, which is funny because when you watch the original Disney classic, you realize that the wolves are only in it for the first 5 minutes, and Shere Khan doesn't make his appearance until we get into the third act of the film. However, with the live action remake, those two problems are solved as we see the wolves become more involved with the story when we watch them struggle with having to say goodbye to Mowgli. And with Shere Khan, oh, did they make him a lot more scary in this version of the Jungle Book. In the original Disney classic, he was more patient and more gentlemanlike for when he came to hunting Mowgli. However, in the live action remake, this tiger is not messing around as you see this character really show off his strength and presence for when he's hunting Mowgli, and even threatens the wolves who were protecting him in the first place. And while the original movie was a buddy road trip story, the live action remake is more of a coming of age story as we see Mowgli become a man from when he faces his fears in the third act of the film. Now, I don't mean to nitpick or anything, but when I saw the ending for the live action remake, I was a bit surprised because it's different from what we saw in the original movie. In the original Jungle Book, we saw Mowgli reach the man village and is actually persuaded into going there because of a little girl. But when you watch the live action remake, that doesn't happen. You know, now that I think about it, in Rudyard Kipling's original Jungle Book, Mowgli does stay in the jungle and frequently visits the man village from time to time. So maybe Disney's planning on making a sequel later on down the line to where we will see Mowgli eventually go to the man village. But anyway, I really love the Jungle Book, and I'll go as far as to say that this movie is among my top 3 favorite Disney classics of all time. And as far as live action goes, the live action remake actually lives up to it and even surpasses the original. Well, that's going to do it for this video, guys. That was my overall review for both the original classic and the live action remake of The Jungle Book. If you like what you saw, click on the subscribe buttons. You can get all this updates from this channel. I'll see you all next time with a brand new video. Bye-bye.